Well, you'll never guess really where I am. Believe it or not, I'm in the car park of ASDA in Caerphilly, and it's a view I've driven past so many times and thought I need to stop off and get a sketch pad out to do a sketch to base a painting on. And I'm sure there are people that have passed here umpteen times a week to do their shopping and not even given a thought of the beauty that is just around them when they come in. And it is like that really. We can pass things without really seeing them or realising them. When I was a minister in Tenby and did an outreach work in an open air market in New Edges, I would take an old VW camper van and put about 4 gazebos in front, anchor them down, and we'd put Christian literature out and had paintings to pay for the stall and so on. And we'd have teas and coffees for people. And on one occasion it was torrential and all the stalls are packed up. I was about the only one left in the field, like a swamp. And this man came in all of a sudden and made him a cup of coffee. We sat there a chat, and he brought out of a bag a paint set that he'd bought in the car boat earlier in the morning. And I said to him, look, if I start an art class in the winter, would you come along? Oh yeah, he said. And in fact, he not only came, but he brought his wife, then he brought his neighbours, and other people came as well. And so on a Friday morning, we'd have about 20 or so people having an art lesson. And whatever they gave, there was no charge, we'd put towards our work with the gypsy families in the community where the church was situated. And often people would say to me, who had started in the art class, do you know, Andrew, now I paint, I just see things so differently. The way I see things has just completely changed now I paint. And it can be like that. And one of the ladies in the art group asked, could she come to a Sunday evening service? And she was from a Greek Orthodox background. And then she asked, could she come to a Bible study and prayer meeting? And then one Sunday night she said to Gwyneth, do you know, now I see salvation. I see salvation. She's very religious, very devout. But now all of a sudden she could see the wonderful way in which we can be saved, we can be put right with God, and it is through Jesus alone. It's not a matter of icons or incense that she'd have been used to, or ritual or ceremony, none of those things, but simply through the Lord Jesus. And of course salvation was there all along, in passages of scripture she'd have read and so on, but now she could see it. And it is like that in life. We can pass things and they are there all along, we just don't see them. So my aim this morning, do a few quick sketches and then settle down outside the house in the front garden and do a watercolour. So with my first watercolour now, I've been doing oils. A number have said, oh, when are we going to see a watercolour? Well, God willing, now this morning I'll get on and show you how a different approach there is to watercolour painting. Right, change of plans. Rather than outdoor in the garden, painting from a sketch I did of the stream in ASDA car park in Caerphilly. It's come to rain, so just got to adapt, and with oils got to keep going outside, it wouldn't have mattered, but with watercolours, bit of rain outside, you can forget it. So I've just put a lot of water on, dropped a bit of blue in for the sky, and then I'm going to be working on all of this now. And what I've done, I've put masking tape under the bridge there to get a clear line. And you'll see now, actually I made a mistake there. See, easily done on the underneath the bridge, and should have been on the top of the bridge. So there we go. It's all been a bit chaotic here, with it coming to rain and having to pack up again. But anyway, here we go. So what I want is a light colour behind. This tree is going to be a focal point, so I want the light to come in by there, and you'll see now. So let's get some blues with there we are, with that sort of green. So see, the water does the work of watercolour. That's going to mix on its own. I haven't got to do much really. Just drop it in and let the water mix. Gwyneth said to me after years in oils, when I was going to go over to watercolour, she said, "Oh, you'll never paint in watercolour. You haven't got the patience for watercolour." And they say behind every successful man, there's usually a surprised woman. And actually, watercolour, it's not about patience. It's all about the speed with which you paint. And quicker you are, the better. Less you mess around with the texture of the paper, because although it's thick enough to take water, surface is very, very delicate. So I'm hardly touching the paper really. So all I'm doing is dropping these colours in by here. Now, what I can do is, just so the bridge will stand out, is get this colour in here. So I'm putting a bit of dark in here now. And you can do that because it's still wet. That will work, no trouble at all. And then what I'll do, I'll take this off, look. Always pull it away from the paper. And look, I've got a very crisp line. But I don't want it going all the way over there. So we'll get that in by here, look. There we go, there we go. Yeah, watercolour, it's all about overcoming your fear of water. And it's just like learning to swim, where you've got to trust the water, go with the water. Most trouble people get is because they don't put enough water on, they don't use big enough brushes, and they pat it like oil. It's not like that. It's just doing it and then leaving it and let the water do the work. Now we're going to come to this dark tree here now. So I'm going to want some real dark, and I want to leave gaps where the light is coming through the tree. So you'll see, this is what they call working wet in wet, where you drop the colours in. And so what I'll do, I'm going to get a nice, real good dark here now. So I'm mixing a bit of burnt umber with the blue, a little bit of yellow. But I still want it on the blue side, not on the brown side if I can. I think that's about it. Oh yeah, we go. That's lovely. So this tree is going to be coming over the bridge. So I'm working a flat brush, which means you can get fine points, but you can cover a big area very, very quickly. And that's the trick with watercolour, keeping it still wet. When you more or less finish an area than when you started it, it's got to still be relatively damp. And that's why it's always good to work small. Don't get too ambitious working large paintings when it comes to watercolour. You're better working small. And when I went over from oil to watercolour years ago, I only used 3 colours. So I wasn't going to be messing around with what colour should I use, and because of speed, and I worked very small as well. Now look at that. Can you see the difference between that and that? But while that is still a bit damp, I can see I put so much water on here, I can still get this sense of texture in here, where the light is still going to come through. And I'm leaving the water sort of still merge the colours together. This is a very rough painting today. I'm just showing you basically the technique of watercolour than actually producing a masterpiece. So, but you can see how that has really receded there now. And while it's receded, I can still get, because it's still damp. See, that's the trick. You put plenty of water on and gives you time to still come back into areas, and I don't do any more than that now. I've just cleaned the brush out, wiped it out, and there we go. Perhaps I should just leave that for now. Right, here we go with our next session. Now I'm working indoors. I could use a hairdryer if I like and dry all that off, but I'm not going to mess around with that. We'll just keep going and keep it very rough, very fluid. And the way I'm painting today is what they call fast and loose, where the speed is everything before it starts to dry. And I'm going to get a little bit of a path up in here now, where see, I'm not messing around. You just put it and you leave it. Different to oils. You noticed with oils, you push it around. You got time to get it right, and you can just forget that with watercolor. You really fly with the seat of your pants, really. So now I'm getting the grass in here now. Going to be a branch going up there with the tree. But you see, I'm not patting the paper. I'm giving broad streaks and then leave it. And I'll come to the grass coming down here the same now. And I've got a bit more vibrant than there because this is nearer. And wow, see that now? See, so what I can do while that's wet, let's get some shadows in. Because you're under a lot of trees here. And which will be casting all sorts of shadows here. But that's great. That gives a sense of depth to the painting. So that's great, really. And I've got a big shadow under this tree here now. But you can see this is not about patience. This is all about speed and confidence, really. And now if I was painting outdoors, out the front of the garden, you'd actually be hearing this stream passing my house, because there's a little brook and there's a little bit of a waterfall, and I often make my way across the road to it with a cup of coffee in the mornings, and for my quiet time, and with the Word of God, and usually there's a heron waiting there. He's standing patiently waiting for his breakfast. So I would, if I was outdoors painting in the garden, it'd be to the sound of this stream. So now you can see how, I think what might be a bad thing is to show you about the reflection. So let's go for it. And I'm using stronger colours now. And I'm going to come down here. And I'm coming down that way. You can see the direction. And then I'm mixing a darker green to come with it. And what I can do, let's mix a bit of a brownish red, well, a mauve basically. And let's get that in as well. And we can get we can get a crisp edge to this this bank. Look at that, isn't that great? That's how simple watercolour can be. Now, see that's running? Don't worry about it. We'll come back and we'll sort that out. And that's where people panic, think, oh, it's all right, don't panic at all. When I worked in the colliery at one time, I worked with a man who was in charge of the screens. Great. They used to screen the coal and massive machinery and the noise. And if that was on stop, everything was stop in the colliery. And he was the chief engineer. And he said to me, Andrew, if everybody's screaming and it's all mayhem here, don't panic. Make yourself a cup of tea. And if nothing's really coming and everybody's still shouting, don't panic. Make yourself another cup of tea. And that's how he was, actually. He was unflappable. And with watercolour, now look at that. I see I've got everything out of that brush. And I'm going to get, we get these lines coming through. We've got some ripples in the water here. And it breaks that. So we've got that coming down, but we've got this coming across. Isn't that a lovely technique? So don't worry about this. We'll come back to that, and that'll be no problem at all. And you see, roughly, I've more or less got everything in place here quite quickly, really. Here's the bottom end of the bridge now. Bottom of the bridge. Crosses where they go over into the car park. And then we need... I'm going to get a stronger blue for this. We've got this tree casting a shadow over here, over the water, which is a nice effect. But I don't know if you can see that now. And we'll leave that there. Right, I just thought I'd show you a bit of technique now. This is the rigger brush, called a rigger because they used to use it when they used to paint the rigging on the ships when you used to do like the old-fashioned ships with sails. And I'm using it on its side. Look, and look at that. You can get that lovely sense of texture. And up here with the grass, similarly up here, you can. So all I'm doing really with this painting is just showing you the sort of textures you can get, different techniques. I'm going to get a cast shadow over here now. Should be a bit more blue than that. So let's have a look. What have we got here? Let's take that cast shadow over there. Just as in there. And so I'm going to show you a trick with some gouache, which is opaque white. It's like magic. And you watch what this can do now. So we can get the water's edge very crisp here. We can get the ripples in here where the stream is making its way down. So it can be used like that. And when I said not to panic there, I'm going to tint it with a little bit of yellow. And you watch what this will do now. Bit more white. It always dries darker because it's going over a dark colour underneath. So always got to allow for that. Let it dry and it'll dry just right. But again, it's practice and all of this. But you can see now how we're getting the sense of the grass coming up. And that's really through this gouache. And we can do it here when it's gone dark. But here, against the dark, it works great. And then what we can do is this. Like we can get it again. I'm tinting it with a little bit of red, so we can get some of the trees, the branches coming up here. Again, you don't want to labour this. Just suggestion you're going for all along. But then from a distance, then what I can do is this. Look, let's get the branches coming up there. You don't overdo this because it's a bit addictive. You can just keep on doing it. But and really, as a demonstration, I'll tint it with a little bit of blue. As a demonstration, this is about it, really. We don't want to do much more than this. And if I just grab a mount and put it on, got a mount here in the study here somewhere. Let me have a look. I can see a difference a mount makes. And always work standard size, work small. And if you work standard, this is like a 16 by 12. So it's easy to get a frame for about £4 in a shop with glass that size. And often people do their paintings and they think, well, how am I going to frame it now? And but work the other way around, get your size right first, and then know it's easy to frame. So yeah, so that's first demo in watercolor, and hope that has been something of a help.